And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We know that it's Monday, and the way that we know that it's Monday, we're having communication problems trying to get Dr. Andrew Akerman on the show with us today. And my goodness gracious, let's see if we can say
Say
hello to
hello
him.
to him.
Hey, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I could hear you great.
You can hear me great,
You
huh?
hear me great, huh?
This is
Okay,
perfect.
we
can
got
you
it.
hear
We
me?
got an
We got an
echo.
echo.
Okay.
You got to
So
cut your
You got to
speaker
cut your
off.
speaker off.
I will, or at least lower it. There you go. Is that better?
Well, let's see.
Well, let's see.
Nope.
Nope.
Yep.
Yep.
I think I'm there. That's okay. We're gonna get it done.
See, I told you it was Monday,
Extra challenges.
and it's
Well,
all
at
and it's
least
all.
It's all.
At least I know what is going on.
Okay, can you, because the external speaker is
But I
creating
think
an
I'm gonna
echo.
turn it- Yeah, I know it's causing that.
I'm glad you're a doctor, not a technician.
I'm both.
Are you?
Hold on.
Okay, standing by one.
Okay. Is that better?
Testing 1, 2. Yeah, I think that sounds good. How about that,
Sound good?
Charlene?
It's much better. Much better.
Oh, yeah.
I don't hear echoes.
Oh,
Yeah, we're finally out of the canyon.
all right, good. Let's start.
Well, first of all, we got to do a little business, and we'll be right back with you in just a few moments, okay? So don't touch anything.
I promise I won't.
Oh my goodness. I can hear Charlene in the background. We only got 4 minutes. We only got 3 minutes. We only got 2 minutes.
Well, we're on. Let's just have fun with it.
Hey, the main thing is we're live. And we are alive.
We're real and we're genuine. And this is
Oh
it.
yeah.
So it's
Oh
okay.
yeah. I mean to tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. The messages of inspiration and hope is proudly brought to you by the good guys at the 6-Minute Webinar. And Charlene, you are familiar with that 6-Minute Webinar, are you not?
I am. It is awesome. I love it.
Oh, goodness. And that script pile that Don McGrath created, what you do is this. You just answer about 40 little simple questions. You push the button submit. The 6-Minute Webinar gets automatically transferred directly to your inbox. And all you got to do is just edit it a little bit, comes in on Google Docs, and then just read your 6-minute webinar and record it as you show about 12 to 15 slides. That's it. That's beautiful.
I like easy.
Oh, yeah. It's what they used to say in the military, it's sailor proof. But we got to do a quick little commercial here right quick, and we'll be back. We're going to listen to someone talk about the 6-Minute Webinar. Their website is 6minutewebinar.com. That's SIXminutewebinar.com. We'll be right back right after this brief message, and we'll make sure that Dr. Andrew Akerman didn't touch anything.
The 6-Minute Webinar allows you to create a marketing product in a fraction of the time that it would typically take to create a webinar. And when you follow the simple process, you will provide laser-focused content to your ideal customers. And the nice thing is, it's repeatable for any product or service that you offer. My name's Rich Parsons, founder of Higher Calling Consulting. And creating my own 6-minute webinars has allowed me to have a 24/7 marketing presence for my ideal clients. So I encourage you to make the 6-minute webinar part of your business marketing strategy too.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for putting up with us while we're going through these technical difficulties. We could blame it on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. Just pick a day.
We can.
Oh, my goodness. My goodness gracious. And we're so glad that Dr. Andrew Akerman finally got his. At first, we could talk to him But he could hear us, but he talked to us, or he. How was it now? What was it now?
He was hearing us, but well, no, he was. We were hearing him, but he wasn't hearing us.
There you
and
go.
then we had some echoes, and just we've
Mm-hmm.
gone through all sorts of things. But hopefully, we're good now and ready to
Oh
go.
yeah, and we also had a young lady by the name of Denise Sheriff, and she's on standby just in case that the good doctor could not, put a quarter in that thing and get that thing going. But let me bring Dr. Akerman to the stage, and let's see how that video. How's that audio working now, man?
It's a pleasure meeting you both. Nice to meet you, Charlene. I've talked to you many times, Mr. Grant. How are you?
Good.
I don't
And
know
you
how
can hear
Mr.
us
Grant
okay?
is. Yeah. Jim's doing okay.
Okay, thank you. How are you guys?
We're doing great today. We're doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
I know we're so glad to have you on board, and let me just say hello to Denise.
Oh,
Hi,
hi.
Denise. How you doing?
Hello.
Well, hi, Charlene. Hello, Dr. Akerman.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you, and nice to meet you too, Mr. Grant.
Well, just call me Jim. Everybody's calling me Mr.
Hey,
Grant.
Jim.
I got promoted, and somehow or another, I didn't get the raise.
Okay, I'd be happy to. Thank you so much.
That's an old
Denise.
trick.
Yeah, Denise, we got Dr. Ackerman's audio working. So what we can do tomorrow, if you're available, we'd love to have you on the show, if that'd be okay with you.
At the same time?
Yeah, we'll send you a link
Okay,
and all
great.
that.
Oh, great. That would be wonderful because I'm leading a class tomorrow night, but I don't start that until 7. So
Okay.
that would be perfect.
We're done. We're normally done around midnight, but we'll cut it short
Well,
for
okay,
you.
then we'll be just, I'll let the ladies know we're going to be up late.
You bet. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you then very much. So I can just leave the meeting.
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, she's such a sweet lady just to pop up on the scene because we didn't know if Dr. Ackerman was going to be able to get his mic going or not. And we're just so glad that he did. But Denise, we're going to have on tomorrow. And Alicia Garcia wanted to say hi to you, Dr. Ackerman.
Well, thank you.
Alicia Garcia, excuse me.
Yes, she is a friend.
Yeah.
Hi, Alicia.
Wonderful.
Well,
I'm glad
officially.
that, let's get this going.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We don't normally take 29 minutes to get going, ladies and gentlemen. We normally
It's been a
take
fun
30.
Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually 30, 35. We're
It's
good.
only 8 minutes. We got plenty of time.
But let me give you a couple of minutes, Dr. Ackerman, just to be able to, share who you are. Introduce yourself to the audience, if you would, sir.
Sure. As I said before, as it says underneath, I'm Andrew Akerman. That's always been me. The MD came about 2005. No, 2000. I believe in 2000. And then I did. But we'll get to that. I'm jumping ahead. I'm not gonna bore you with where I'm from, but long story. I'm a man of the world. I was born in Europe, lived in the Middle East for a little while. Then most of my life, I would say, I lived in New York. That's where I had my education, and that's where I had my injury, which I will discuss in a minute.
Yeah.
And then I found myself in sunny Miami, Florida. And I was going to stay here a year, and here I am a decade later going, what happened?
It's a long year, that's all.
So what makes my story somewhat unique, I don't have to go through the whole rigmarole of medical school. It's you can't really explain how hard medical school is and residency unless you've gone through it. So we can discuss that, but what makes my story unique is that when I was 16, I went to the beach with a bunch of friends, and I'm not going to. I have an autobiography coming out, like a little bit in a couple of months. So if you're more than interested, you could read all the details. But I will try to keep it short. I ended up breaking my neck, which was very strange because I've done that same maneuver, just diving into the ocean thousands and thousands of times. This time, unfortunately, there was something either I'm pretty confident it was a piece of wood that was driven into the sand, and immediately I couldn't feel anything. The reason I want to tell the story a little bit in details, you'll you'll see where I'm going with this. Um, and there I am a week before my 16th birthday, and I can't. I'm laying in the water, and I can't move my arms, my legs, completely in spinal shock, and I'm running out of water. And suddenly, this gentleman comes over, and I'd never seen him before. Um, Rolls me over. This is pretty much around the time when I thought I was just going to drown. And he asked me if I was okay, and I said, actually, I don't think so. I think I'm pretty confident something bad happened. He didn't say anything else, and he just dragged me to the beach. And this is where the story gets a little bit interesting. And I, this is where I find your audience would find interesting, is he kind of disappeared. Not disappeared like in the movies, but he kind of got lost in the crowd. He's not in the paramedics report. He's not in the police report. What makes the story interesting is that I was there with about maybe 8 to 10 friends, and they all have drastic description of him that are different. One
Wow.
says he had a mustache. One said he was. So, um, Charlene already knows this. I am spiritual,
Mm-hmm.
and some of these things you just can't um, chalk off as mere coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
I I could, but I think that would be doing
Yeah.
the whole entire thing a
Yeah.
disservice. I do believe that there was some reason for this. The reason why I don't know. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, I tell a lot of my students and my residents, and
Let me back up here. Let me back up here just a minute. I still
sure.
got that echo. Did you turn your speaker up? You better
No,
turn it down.
I turned it down. Okay.
Okay. Because here you are. You got to cut that thing down, Doc.
I'm
It,
trying to
that
do my
echo is
best.
not going to cut it.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Testing 1, 2. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
Now, what I want to do, what I want to discuss with you is the fact that at age, yeah, before you turned 16, you dove into the water, you hit something, yeah, you broke your neck, it changed your life forever, and now, we still got that echo, Doc. I'm sorry. Can you do something with that?
No, I haven't touched anything.
Well, I mean,
I
can
think
you
it's
touch
just
something?
coming in and out. We're gonna have to fix this, but we'll get to the bottom of this.
If you
Okay.
can maybe mute while we're.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Let me.
that's worse.
That's worse, Doc.
Come
I
on.
know.
Come on.
Is that better?
Testing 1, 2. Yeah, that's better. A little bit better anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Unfortunately, it's coming out of the same place where it's coming out. Yeah. I know
Do you have-
exactly
do you have
what the
a- wait a
problem is.
minute.
I will
Wait a
have
minute.
it.
Okay. Do you have an external speaker on?
I tried it on. I tried it off. But this
You
is
don't.
that's
You
what
do
it
not
is.
want to use an external speaker. That amplifies the voice. Okay.
Right.
That's why I wanted to get you here a little earlier so we could work on things. But anyway, let's drive on.
Okay.
Now let's focus on this. You were almost 16. You dove into the ocean, and you broke your neck. It changed your life forever.
Yes, sir.
You're now and always have from that point forward been in a wheelchair, quadriplegic.
Yes.
And you graduated from medical school, is that right?
As a matter of fact, I was the first person to ever be accepted to medical school
Hmm.
in a wheelchair. And that's really where the story becomes interesting.
Hmm. When did you make that decision to become a doctor?
Oh, sometimes I think it was my mom whispering in my ear in my crib, "You want to be a doctor. You want to be a doctor." I think I was indoctrinated. But pretty much as long as I can remember, I enjoyed helping other people. I really got um, joy out of it, and what better way than being a physician? And especially now that I've been on the other side of it,
Hmm.
I feel like I have experience as a patient and as a doctor. I think every doctor should at least experience that to some degree.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Because Charlene, you can easily see where going through what he did, he now automatically has more compassion than he probably would as a doctor if he had not experienced that.
it was
Absolutely. You've
interesting
got to see where
because
the patients are coming from.
Hmm.
some people go the other way. They're afraid to see patients because they're somehow afraid that the patient will react
Hmm.
um, negatively. I found, and it's what I suspected, that they would tell me things that they wouldn't tell other people.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
they felt an immediate bond. I guess and it was quite gratifying
Hmm.
um, that they not only treated me normally, but they also it almost went to the next step, like as if like I'm in cahoots with them. Like here I am, and those big bad doctors, which I happen to be part of. Um, but I felt like almost like a liaison between the patient and the doctor,
Hmm.
which was very good. Like I was translating it
Hmm.
to the patient in their own speak.
Yes. They
Yeah, because
trust you.
sometimes you go to the doctor, and I know in my own personal experience, they're just kind of like reserved to some degree. Some doctors are. I've got a great
Well,
family doctor now that's very personable, but I had one doctor there for a while. I knew him very well. He was a friend of mine, but he was just by nature reserved. Didn't want to touch you, didn't want to get too involved with it. He was just more by the numbers. Boom, 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 boom. That was his personality.
when we go through school, everybody ends up using part of what they're taught and part of their personality. But they do teach us to try to create a little bit of a distance.
Hmm.
Um, for
He must
example,
he must have excelled in that class.
Created a
but
lot of distance.
I'm not quite sure. No,
And I think it's
And I'm not knocking it. That's the way
let's
his
just say that
person.
it was case by case,
Yeah, yeah.
depending on how comfortable they were. But in general, I do recommend that a doctor maintain a certain level of
Professionalism.
objectivity.
Yeah. Hmm.
And the people who I do insist that call me Dr. Akerman are the patients.
Hmm.
That way, I do have that. Um, they don't see me as a colleague or anything like that. I
Right.
have that. And in a way, it's protecting yourself too. You can't live and die by every patient. You're going to have some bad outcomes.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's perfectly understandable because that's life. And knowing that you care, knowing that you're compassionate, knowing that you'll do the best you can with what you have in your knowledge in medical procedures and medicines, that's all anyone could ever ask for. It really is.
And I really, really do enjoy um, giving back, which is why we have a lot of plans, Charlene and I, down the pike. I really would love to. Um, like at the time when I was injured, there were no support groups. You sort of had to figure it out on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when I was in medical school, and this is all in my book, which um, in far more detail, I've noticed that these young, the vast majority of people with spinal cord injury will be young male teenagers just because we're crazy. I
I
think it's
should have
something to do with
I
the
should have resembled that
testosterone.
remark.
I mean, it's the testosterone that drives us nuts.
Hmm.
No, I mean we do dangerous things. I mean that goes without saying. And I've noticed though a great variety. They were just literally sitting out there in the hall and they were discussing, and it was little. It was like the blind leading the blind. So
Hmm.
at one point I said to them, guys, why don't we grab a room and let's talk? And it became unofficial. And at which point I said, why don't we just start a group?
Hmm.
And I called it Kids in the Hall because that's literally what it was. And once a week we sat down in a circle, which we can discuss the circle part um, further. We, Charlene and I, talked about it yesterday, um, and it was. I've gotten so much positive feedback, and to my knowledge, it still continues to this day up in New York. And I'd like to do the same thing, maybe on a possibly larger scale down here.
Hmm.
I just feel that there are a lot of people who, with a lot of questions, and either they're too embarrassed, and this goes to any type of trauma,
Hmm.
because at the end of the day, um, and I don't want to mix, I don't want to, I don't want to confuse people in the same. I'm not trying to say that every trauma is the same, but dealing with different types of trauma is
Hmm.
relatively similar.
Hmm.
And if we learn to do it in a group setting combined with individual therapy or just chatting, I just find I personally would have benefited much more
Oh yeah.
myself,
Hmm.
and
You know,
therefore I'd like to do that if I could.
sure.
Um, as,
Because
as a,
that is your calling in life, to follow your heart, because you got skin in the game. And Charlene, you may remember it was 2 weeks ago today. We had Lauren Patterson on, and her story was so unique through three failed marriages and suicide. Being very suicidal. But she made the comment, the reason I'm doing now, the reason I wrote my book, the reason I'm speaking out, the reason I'm helping ladies is because in my hour of need, I needed me. I needed someone like me there. And that's
Exactly.
why she's doing it.
and
And
it's
that's what
very
I,
interesting. If
and
I
that's,
could, if I could continue, I don't mean to interrupt, but if I can take that thought and run with it, is that to this day, obviously medical school is competitive to a degree, right? To a
hmm
degree. Um, but I've never found myself competing against others. That is unhealthy. Uh,
yes.
The best thing to do is compete against yourself.
Hmm.
How did I improve today from yesterday?
Hmm.
And it's not even that hard. I advise people, if you learn 2 facts a day, you'll be 2 facts better today than you were yesterday. And imagine how many facts you could learn if you do that every
Hmm.
single day.
Hmm.
But the truth is, you have nobody to rely on other than yourself. And I have a lot of anecdotes in the book, and with the same theme, that a doctor can be the greatest doctor in the world, but no one knows your body better than you.
Hmm.
and you know whether it's functioning properly, improperly, something is right, something is wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and and a lot of people, it, unfortunately, there are some doctors that will tell you that it's in your head.
Mm-hmm.
That's very discouraging. Um, there's a lot of things you can do and say. I mean, it's interesting because our Hippocratic oath says, non malfeasance, which is do no harm,
Right.
and yet sometimes we do more harm than good by
Mm-hmm.
telling someone you have 2 weeks to live. Well, I don't know that. That's what the statistics say. Or you'll never
Yeah.
walk
Yeah.
again, or you
And
can't
I
do
think
this.
with healing trauma, it's so important to know that another person is there. We do go through a lot of the pain ourselves, but I think that's when we come through trauma and come out on the other side, that's what we want to give back. We want to say, I've been there, and honestly, you do need another person to kind of help hold your hand and point you in that right direction. It's so
Oh,
important.
I agree. But
And
you
that's
Yeah.
just,
also agree that you have to build up to that.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah.
First, you have to do a little bit of personal work. I mean, we were talking about the stages of grief the other day, but in a way, you first have to get past denial. And once you accept you have a problem, then you can go and reach out
Mm-hmm.
to a group, a person,
Mm-hmm.
and this works with any type. I mean, everything from alcoholism to, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and my job, I mean, my role is not to fix everything. My role is to provide the tools
Mm-hmm.
that I use to get to where I am, which may or may not help certain people,
Mm-hmm.
but it's definitely something that they can try and see if it works.
Mm-hmm. Charlene, talking about, your Healing Acres there, I've got your website up there, Healing Acres Never Again. That organization won't you share a little bit about why you created that organization, number one? Number two, you also supply tools and training and help and support, and just share a little bit with the folks, if you would, on that.
Yes, Hannah, we call it Hannah for short. It's Healing Acres Never Again. And I started it because of my own trauma that I went through in life and my own experiences. I had gone through incest, I had gone through rape, and domestic violence. So these were all things that I faced in life. And basically so many times felt like I cannot make it one more day. I can't go on. And I go back to the steps that I took, and I thank God for the people that were there to help me
Mm-hmm.
through getting to that next level, because we do need each other. So I started a program in Hannah that helps people go through the same thing that I had to go through to come out on the other end. So we
Mm-hmm.
do have mentors, we have counselors, we have just buddies that are there to help hold your hand while you're walking through that kind of trauma. And because a lot of the hardest thing to do is to go back and look at the truth and
Yeah.
say, yes, this did happen. And then Hannah goes a step further, where we have a thing called Hannah's Voice, where so many victims don't have a voice where they can talk and tell
Mm-hmm.
their story, or just tell, I'm hurting. And so we have a section called Hannah's Voice, and it's where people can talk about their experiences. And the more we talk about it, and the more we have support from other people, that's where that healing takes place. So Hannah has different structured programs that people can go through, and that's why I started it, because of my
Mm-hmm.
experiences and trying to help
And
people
I
walk
believe
down
that's how
that
you
path.
found me also.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yes.
because I'm in a unique position. I would love to help expand your website, the different ways to get a hold of you. I worked as a medical student. I volunteered in women's domestic violence
Mm-hmm.
group, and it was quite eye-opening how many, again, from personal experience, you're gonna have to read the book. But some of these things are very close to my heart. But I also don't. I mean, I just don't believe in violence of any kind, much less domestic. I mean, that's just unacceptable.
Mhm.
Um, but having these are all such different situations that you really, I would have. I don't remember. I don't know what the exact latest. I'd have to look up the data, but it's very high. Did we say it was like 75% recidivism? Like at least 2/3 of women go back to their abuser.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
it, and a lot of it has to do with socioeconomic,
Yeah.
uh, not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
They're
We.
also afraid of change. I mean, there's a lot of different.
Sure. I got to interrupt you there for just a couple of seconds here. We got to do a commercial break, pay some bills. We'll be right back right
Good
after this
place to
brief
stop.
message.
Hi, I'm Angel Marie Monticelli with Angel Marie Shines. And I had the pleasure, the honor to go through training for the 6-minute webinar. Oh my gosh, this webinar and how it's structured and how they teach it. Thank you, Speakers Pathway Coalition. Thank you, Don McGrath and the whole team for the 6-minute webinar, because you made it so simple, easy. And the way you lined it out with the outline, I can reproduce it and reproduce it. And I'm already getting the engagement. I'm getting people that are coming back that are saying, oh, I love this webinar that's so short, so to the point, and I love your products and what I'm selling, but then what I'm also, the services that I provide, and I do any of this because I have the framework. So thank you so much to the whole team, because the 6-minute webinar totally rocks. Thank you.
And we're back. We've had Agent Marie Monticelli on the show several times. A great friend of ours, and she is just like us. She will not endorse anything that she does not believe in. And ladies and gentlemen, I need to apologize about our audio today. It's just not up to par, but we're going to go ahead and drive on. And Charlene, I tell you, the work that you've done during your
I tried to
lifetime,
fix this a
and
little bit. Is this better?
yeah, yeah.
Is it better now?
We got it's as good as it's going to get. Let me put it like that.
All right. Well,
We're
Yeah,
gonna
we-
work with it,
it's
right?
better.
we're
I'm
good.
glad.
Yeah,
I
we're
did
good.
play with it.
Don't worry about it. Don't let it preoccupy your mind, because
I
it's
won't.
the information you're going to share here as we continue on is more important than worrying about the little things. So
Got it.
we're going to drive on. But most importantly, when you talk about folks like Angel Marie Monticelli, Charlene here with us today, of course, Dr. Andrew Akerman, it's all about coming from the heart. It's all about, taking your gifts that you've been given. And sometimes you get a gift in life that you may not want, like in Dr. Ackerman's case. He's been a quadriplegic ever since right before the age of 16. He's in a wheelchair. He graduated, went through medical school, and now he's a doctor. And he just continues to look for ways how he can be a blessing to others and say, hey, look at me, but I overcame a lot of obstacles in my life. This did not define me. That accident did not put me in a box, did not put a top on it, did not put any tape on it or chains around it, did not enslave me. I'm still free. I still got my mind, I got my spirit, and I'm alive, and I'm going to share my gift and my talent with the world. That's a good way of describing a minute, Charlene.
And
It is.
I'd like to add two things to that. And
Okay.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Mhm.
But one of the things I wanted to add was that, um, and it's a very simple rule, which I realized almost immediately, is people will treat you the way you treat yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not gonna lie to you. I could still be in denial, but if I'm in denial, it's been 30 years, the hell with it. I'm okay with it. But having said that, I've never gone through a period of depression. I never went through that whole why me. I just find that to be a waste of energy.
Hmm.
And I've always looked forward. And that's something that actually I forgot to mention to Charlene a couple of weeks, the first time we spoke, but this is very important. You need to have a very short memory.
Mm.
It's so crucial. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days. You cannot drag that bad day to the next day. Forget it happened. Wake up the next morning with a smile on your face. Today is going to be a better day. And that's how I've been approaching this. And on top of it all, you have to, if you look at it from the big picture, you're going to get overwhelmed. I say take it one step at a time. Like get through the day, then get through the week, get through
Hmm.
the month, get through the, and that's how you do it. I mean, otherwise, it's been 15 years of training, and we can get into that maybe not today, but tomorrow, or maybe we could start today. But I haven't been the first person that even, I know several other people who got injured after they got accepted, so that makes it a little bit different. But to go in there in a chair and be interviewed, and we could talk about how my grades were higher than many other people who got accepted, and I don't want to bother with the negativity of it, but um, what's interesting is that if you think positively, and this goes for anything, this goes for a job interview. There's there's been studies that show that you go in there with a positive attitude, you'll get the job.
Hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
Think
and
positive.
so that's what I try to preach. And I'll tell you something else. There's another, and this I haven't really told too many people this. So this is almost like breaking news on your show. Uh, just I think you're getting the sense that I'm kind of a private person, but at the same time, simultaneously, I'm an open book. If you ask me, um, I have never once in the 30 years that I've been injured had a dream where I was in a wheelchair.
Hmm.
Now, I don't know what that means. I'm no psychologist, but I could tell you that at least in part, it has to do with the fact that I I don't feel so much disabled because everything I've set my mind to, I've accomplished to this point.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying that you have to be exactly like me.
Hmm.
Everybody should set their own goals depending on what trauma they went through. And there's different, you know,
Hmm.
different ways of doing it. But I will tell you this, when I was going through my original rehab, going by the book didn't always work. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do some of the things that they were
Hmm.
asking me to do. But
Yeah.
then I would say, could you let me try it my own way? And they were very hesitant. They were like, well, the book says this. I'm like, well, you have to understand the book is a general guideline, but we're individuals. We're all individuals.
Hmm.
I could have the same identical injury as somebody else and we'll react differently. Depends
Hmm.
on our tenacity, on our upbringing, on our a million things. And when I did try it, sometimes I'm a little crazy. Like they told me I couldn't drive a car. I was like, why not? You can't transfer. First time it took me 5 hours to get into the car. I'm not gonna. I busted up my face and everything, but I was 16, you know. So now it takes a few minutes. It's really
Hmm.
not a big deal. But I was
But you
told that I
don't
would
give
never
up.
be able to
Yeah, you
drive,
don't give up.
You
and
know,
you
one
just
One of the things too I was going to say that you were talking came to my mind is that Charlene, some people will let a physical uh, disability or handicap limit them, but the real problem I see today and what we see going on is when people mentally handicap themselves
Exactly.
and they carry on all this excess baggage. They get caught up in the physical rather than, because your head can only reflect what's in the past and what's happened in the past, because none of us have a crystal ball for a brain. And my point being is that whenever we're handicapped mentally, we cannot live the type of life in abundance that we are commissioned to live, if I could put it like that,
It's
or the
basically
gifts in life.
paralyzed
Yeah,
in
it's
a different way.
It is
Yeah,
a
it
lot of
is
the
paralyzed.
and Hannah, that's a lot of the healing is in the head, but I like what Andrew was saying too about sometimes you can't do it by the book. It's an individual thing and your heart knows which way to go. That's why it's so important to have so many different people, mentors, people that you can talk to or depend on, because it's not always going to be, oh, you do it this way. Everybody's got
Even
their
speaking
own
to
their own
psychologists,
heart, their own feelings. Exactly. I
Mhm.
love that.
you may
Just
not
to
be
have
able
the
to find the
resources
right
there, different resources.
you may not be able to find the right personality with the right therapist. I mean, you
oh
may have
yeah.
to go through several before you find the right one.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean you need to give up, um, but it helps to be stubborn. It helps to be. Uh, I do
Tenacity.
believe in lifting yourself up by your own bootstraps. I do. I mean,
Yeah.
what do they say? God helps those who help themselves. I always
Yeah.
find that interesting. I'm like, well, if I'm helping myself, but um, so
But
how
you
much
can't
of it
always
is
help
me,
yourself.
and how much
Sometimes
of it
people
is
have to.
Yeah.
well? I think it's more of a like metaphorically speaking, I guess.
Mhm.
You can't just sit there and wait for something to happen,
No,
you know.
no, no. Mm-mm. The world
And
doesn't turn that way. I mean, look at all the people buy all those lottery tickets every week, thinking which is really nothing more than an investment in a false hope. And and a lot of people invest in false hope in many different ways in their lives. They think about some abracadabra plan of happening,
well,
and it's a
that's where
go
that's
ahead.
where religion comes in a little. It's a little bit confusing because it's great to have the faith and belief and prayer,
Hmm.
and that's important. And they've actually shown studies where prayer actually is statistically significantly better. Like people
Oh
do
yeah.
better with people praying for them, which is interesting.
Hmm.
Um,
It's
but
love. Everything's
you
about love.
cannot
You
just
got to care about
rely
each
on
other.
that alone, is my
Hmm.
point. That's great, but you really need to work hard. You can't just lay back, because what I find in my own practice, and I found with just chatting, casually, is that um, people who think that way sometimes take it too far, and they're like, "Well, I'm not doing it. I'm just waiting for help from above."
Well, that's
Well,
kind
that's
of that's kind
great,
of
but then
foolish, really. That
hey,
because in the fact that it's kind of like a farmer having a field. The field is there, and you've got to you've been blessed enough to buy the seed and have a tractor and all that. Well, guess what? You got to work the soil, you got to plant the
Yes.
seed, you're going to have to work the crops, and then in the fall you reap the harvest. I mean, there's no free lunch anywhere, and
well,
and
where does the rain dance? Where does that come in?
rain dance.
I heard that
Yeah,
some of these farmers up north are now doing that. That's
yeah,
well,
yeah.
that's
I
a
tell
whole
you.
other story. But
Oh
I
yeah.
I do I would like to. One of the reasons I'm here, and one of the reasons I I I wanted to appear on your show, and
Mhm.
maybe you know I don't know exactly what to do with this, but I really do want to reach as large. an audience and help as many people. It's a great way to reach as many people as I can at once. It's
Hmm.
much more effective. It's much more efficient. Um, and I think every kind of medium I'd like to, if we're I'm happy to figure out a way where we can have, if people have questions where they have one-on-one, we will set that up.
Hmm.
Um, Group sessions. I think all these things. I'm happy to speak in front of uh, a large group of audience if they're willing, if they want to. If that's something that's helpful, I think all of these are very helpful, which
Hmm.
we didn't have in the past. And
Hmm.
we were concentrating on the physical healing, but not the mental healing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing because, like in 2020, everybody knows what we went through there, and I'm not going to bore everybody with all the details there. But I reached out to a lady I hadn't seen in some time on Facebook, and I just simply said, "Hey, what are you doing? Would you like to be a guest on my show?" And she says, "Well, Jim, I lost my business in 2020, and I know what kind of business she's got. And in my opinion, what happened was that she got totally blinded because she was solely focused on physical. And you take us, for example, we're speakers. We normally speak on stages. Well, guess what? That shifted. We'll still
This is our
speak on
stage.
stages in the future, but the virtual stage is no joke. It's here to stay. So get used to it because think how that affects people from all walks of life. See, like Dr. Ackerman, for example, he can sit there in the comfort of his office. I can sit here in my studio and I can present the same type of message on a virtual stage that I can on a physical stage. And my audience does not have to get in an airplane and fly to Orlando for hundreds of people to be in the audience or anything like that because the virtual stage is here to stay. And I know some speakers who, like, oh my gosh, we can't go anywhere. We won't be able to, how are we going to survive? Well, you got to make adjustments in your life. That's what
Adapt.
living's all about. And Charlene, I've known you for quite a while now, and I've seen you make some good adjustments. But you were proactive. You got to be proactive and not be reactive, because
Right.
otherwise you're just like a beach ball in the water getting tossed to and fro with the slashing of the seas. And I mean that's
If you
and a
want
lot
to
of
use another, if
a
you'd like
lot.
to use another metaphor, a shark. I mean, a shark, if he stops moving, they can't breathe. You have to keep moving.
That's right. That's a good one. Yeah, it is. But
And
it's
we
just
did have to adapt, and we
yeah,
did it.
yeah.
And it actually
I'm
turns out better in so many ways, don't you think, Jim?
Oh
We
yeah,
can accomplish
absolutely.
more.
I
And
mean,
if
we
it
were we
if
were
I'm hearing right, this is just the beginning.
oh yeah, oh yeah. It's changed forever, but the beauty of it is that out of every single change, it always has greater opportunity when you go through these different doors. It really does. And
Yes.
we all laugh about the time, when I guess we all thought about, like the toilet paper shortage and all that. And, people would
That
go
was
to
our biggest
McDonald's
problem.
and stop in and use the restroom just so they get the toilet paper. I mean, it's kind of like, that's pretty bad when you stop and think about it, but that shows you what fear and the loss of focus can do to you. Because all you got to do is love yourself first, focus on loving others. Everything else will start falling in place for you. I've seen it happen time and time and time again. That's how this little show got on to become a live streaming TV show.
That's
That's
right.
Because
amazing.
that's how we started. We started with Zoom and Facebook Live. Whoop de doo. We were big time, right? But
I thought
it's,
it
There
was.
is one thing I'd
yeah.
like to. There is one thing though. I feel very strongly about,
Hmm.
which is, and I can't even take credit for this. It was It was who was that gentleman? I forget. He's the head of the Natural Museum in New York City, but I'll think of his uh,
Mhm.
Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's his name. Yeah. He says everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but not to their own facts.
Oh yeah, that's been a
We
statement
are
a lot of.
living in a
Mhm.
very dangerous time where everybody reads or watches their whatever they want to hear.
Mhm.
It's okay to have an opinion, and I don't judge, and you got to be open minded. And I'd love to have a. I don't have to agree with everything everyone says. Facts are facts, though,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
we can't have our own facts, but to so anything that happens on this show or any other show or anything like that, we have to make sure that the facts are there
Oh yeah.
and the facts are the real facts.
And the reason
But
this
I
show
don't
has
understand what
been so
alternative
successful
facts are.
is the fact that when we first started, we just had speakers volunteering, sharing positive message because it was a win-win situation for them. It enabled them to be able to get their message across to other people to build their positive image and also help them positively. But most importantly, today, right now, you have a choice. You can listen to all the hate, all the venom being vomited on society, or you can tune in and listen to positive things that you know is right deep down in your heart. And what's right is for us to love ourselves, to love others, and to be a blessing to others. And as I like to speak, and I'll stop in just a moment, but as I like to say, there's when I speak on stage, I talk about the LLAR. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to be liked. Everybody wants to be appreciated. And everybody wants to be respected. That's something that we
Absolutely.
should, we should echo in our minds every day. That's the things that our kids should be hearing. And all this other hate and this venom speech and all this stuff that goes on that tears people apart, you do not have to participate in that. That's
That's right.
voluntary. And I highly recommend for you to say, hey, time out. I don't play this game anymore. I'm going to the big leagues. Would you agree with that, Doctor?
I couldn't agree more, and I will tell you that that is probably the only way to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
We have to agree that certain things are facts, even if we have to find a third objective party, but we can't have two sets of facts
Mm.
about anything. We
Oh,
need
yeah.
otherwise. I feel like sometimes doctors are not trusted because disagrees with the internet. Well, who knows what was on the internet? I mean, we.
Well,
By the way, we don't like that.
yeah. Well,
But you can
Abraham Lincoln said that you can't
with like
trust
30
everything you
pages.
read on the internet anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly. So anyway, we'll have. But I agree. I mean, I think that we need to remain positive.
Hmm.
Um, and that's really what's going to get us out of this.
Hmm.
And 2020 was a strange year, but I think part of it was because a lot of people were in fear.
Oh, yeah.
It,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was it was their way of showing their survival instincts, if nothing
Yeah.
else. And I think that, I mean, everything has increased: domestic violence, violence in general.
Hmm.
Uh, you name it.
Alcoholism.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That's why it's so
substance
important that we
abuse,
put those good thoughts
alcoholism.
in every
Hmm.
day.
Yeah.
So
You're right.
it's not a coincidence.
Hmm.
We're a social society. We're not meant to be isolated.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. We're social creatures and we need each other. And believe it or not, we also need to be exposed to germs as much as people are scared to death of germs because that helps keep our immune system healthy.
Yeah, I
That's
used to
right.
eat sand. I mean, I don't know how smart that is, but
Hmm. Yeah.
But here I am.
Yeah, I tell you. I wish I was allergic to good looks. I could use some of that. But so far, I've been immune to that.
That's funny.
You got to have
well,
a sense of humor in life, Doc, because
oh,
laughter is good.
absolutely.
Laughter is one of the
That's
best.
why.
One of the things I like for you, we only got a couple minutes left, but one of the things I like for you to talk about also, how important is laughter to the body, for your health?
There is nothing more important. It releases positive endorphins. It's even more. It's like working out times 10. It really does. They've shown in terminal patients who
Oh, yeah.
have had like massive improvements just watching comedies.
That's why I laugh so much, Charlene, because I'm working out right now.
That's right. This counts for my
It should replace
exercise
workout.
today.
Yeah. I appreciate that heads up there, Doc, because I'm going to start working out here more often.
Well,
Jim, you're always working out.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, this has a thing called intelligence,
But it's
whatever that is,
definitely great for your mind.
Yeah. It keeps you young. It keeps you, like I like to say, keep your sunny side up, really.
Absolutely.
Really
Especially
does.
when you're gonna and that works, especially when you're working with someone.
Oh,
You do
yeah.
we discussed that with Charlene in the past, but you don't want to go in there. If you're gonna be a mentor, you want to be a positive mentor, not a negative.
So when
I've seen that.
when a patient comes in to see you, you don't look at them and say, "What are you doing here again? What's wrong with you?"
Yeah, I've seen worse. No, but I'm talking about like people
Yeah, I
who
know.
are considering themselves like mentors, and they come in and tell you what a crappy life they have. That's not. What good are you doing?
It's not
Well,
inspiring.
I'm trying to make them feel good about themselves so they can understand how bad I feel about myself.
Right. I mean, is that a competition? And I was doing the opposite. I was like, let's talk about real stuff. And that's a whole other conversation. But it's amazing how in a group setting people will open up
Mhm.
if they feel comfortable.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And
But-
that's what you have to create first is the sense of safety.
Mhm.
And you're in a safe environment, and everyone is here to help you.
Yeah. It's one of the things you mentioned there. It's very true. Getting into a group and just discussing things, it's electrifying. We see that when we put on webinars, masterminds. Some of the people that come into there, I don't know if Madam's house can't, and they're very quiet, and we're thinking, okay, we don't hear anything from them, and all of a sudden they'll pop in with some great information that none of us thought of. We go like, wow, that's really fantastic, especially when someone's trying to answer a question about
Big
how to
company.
improve their business.
Big companies have think tanks. I mean, that's what
Oh,
they
yeah.
were created for.
Oh yeah. I wonder why I never got invited to too many think tanks there, Charlene.
Hey, it's not too late. It's not too late.
I don't know, Jim.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's been a real that's that's been a real brain teaser for me most of my life.
I think it's the think part. It's the think part.
Oh yeah.
I'm very good at thinking. I just like to delegate the information to do other people to do.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's okay. There's
Yeah.
nothing
Oh,
wrong.
I gotta-
We
I
all
gotta
have
catch
our
up.
gifts.
I got to catch up on the comments here. Of course, I told you about Alicia Garcia. Hi, Dr. Akerman. Denise is watching the show. She says it's a great show. Thank you, Denise. Leah Akerman, that's, I guess, hi, son. I guess that's your
my
mom. Yeah, she says you're
That
doing
sounds
fine.
familiar.
Yeah, she says, I'm so proud of you, son. She says, son, you're so handsome.
Well, of course. If your mom doesn't think you are, then no one does.
I mean to tell you, we got just about 30 seconds left, ladies and
Well,
gentlemen.
we
The
should
time
have
has
some
just
time.
flown.
Maybe save the questions. We'll continue tomorrow, and we
Yeah.
can answer some questions.
Yeah, we'll have to get you rescheduled here and get you back on there. And, because You've got a lot to. We've got a lot of ground to cover with you. That's
We
for
haven't
sure.
even scratched the surface. And we have to fix that.
I forgot to cut off the clock in the background, so if you hear it, that's my fault.
It's
My
okay. We
sister,
have to fix that audio and then we'll be perfect. Well, anyway, so
Yeah.
I believe
we're out of time now. Yeah, we got to get ready to go. My sister just said
all
very
right. Well, it was
informative,
a pleasure. I had a great time.
and
Thank
we
you.
did too, Doc. We did too. And
Have a great day,
We'll
and
pick
let's
this
continue
back
this
up.
tomorrow.
Okay. We'll
Take
catch you later. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us today. We're so glad that you tuned in. And most importantly, we hope you have a wonderful day. Charlene and I will be back tomorrow. And we're just looking so forward to being with you. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you tomorrow. Bye bye.